We are still at the SIT show, interviewing various people from the industry. I'm delighted to speak with Akshay Anand from Axelos.
Thank you for having me, Margaret.
And your product development manager for service management, IT service management?
That is correct, yes.
The weight of the ITSM industry.
Yes, that's true.
Is looking at you closely. I mean, I think there's lots of discussion going on about what's happening and what you guys do. I'm just interested to know where you are at the moment, because I know you've been doing some workshops and things, and I guess, you know, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to get feedback? Are you trying to just socialize stuff? Where are you at the moment with this stuff?
So there are a couple of things that we're trying to do at the moment. As you know, the last update to ITIL was in 2007, and we believe that core material, 2011, V3 was 2007.
Just as well I was here.
And so the last update was 2011. We believe that core is still quite stable. The concepts, the premise, the processes and the roles and all the stuff that's described is as valid today as it was 5 years ago. What's changed is the industry and the dynamics in the industry, and therefore the way these concepts, this material needs to be applied has changed. And so what we're doing now is embarking on a little bit of a research program to understand how people are applying these same concepts in a changing world where you now have cloud computing, you've got DevOps, IT for IT, SIAM, and so on, and how ITIL now fits under or fits together with all these other frameworks. What does ITIL look like in today's modern environment? With the aim to internalize that and then produce additional guidance. So essentially taking from the early adopters or early movers and transforming that into official guidance from Axelos, so that people who are looking to do the same thing now have white papers, case studies, blog posts, podcasts, whatever it might be, that they can then pick up and use in their environments.
And then where are you in that cycle of?
We've just kicked that off. We've done a little bit of work up to this point. There have been a couple of interesting papers published towards the end of last year, Kanban for IT operations, and a more recent one which was DevOps and ITIL. We're also doing a number of conferences where we're talking about the intersection of DevOps and ITIL, how they fit together, but also starting to bring in some of the emerging trends such as Cynefin and sense making and how that fits together with service management. But we're not ignoring the core either. So that's where some of the research workshops and the surveys that we've been running recently fit in, where we're able to reach out to the members and find out what they're doing today.
I mean, for me, the challenge, I mean, I agree that the core content is always valid and you know, relevant and probably even more relevant these days in terms of security and governance and so on. The challenge for me has always been the presentation, you know, and that has fallen behind. So, I mean, are you looking to use new ways of getting the message out?
Yes, and that is also part of the research that we're doing. We want to know how people are finding out the information that they need, how they want to consume it, whether it's, do they want short video snippets, do they want a wiki-style site that they can search through, do they want PDFs of white papers versus slideshows, whatever. This is also part of the research that we want to do, because we recognize that at a social level, there's a shift in how people consume content as well, and less people are willing to pick up a book and search through an index to find what they want.
So I mean, and in terms of, so you're in listening mode, you're absorbing, taking on board. I mean, do you have any sense of when you might be turning the handle on that, producing something? Or is that going to be a continuing sort of work? Is it going to be a continual service improvement kind of process?
We want to move to a continual service improvement mode. We want to work with a lot of different partners on some of this content development as well. There are a couple of papers in the works right now, which hopefully we'll be able to publicize via our Facebook page, website, Twitter account, and so on, hopefully shortly. But right now, as you said, very much we're in listening mode. We don't want to go out there and say, well, this is how you should do it. We want to find out how people are doing it instead. And then trying to detect the patterns, the trends, and saying more people are starting to do this, less people are starting to do that.
That's quite radical for service management, asking people what they want.
Eliciting feedback has been a challenge, but that's part of the reason we're here at SITS. That's part of the reason why we're at various conferences this year. Here at SITS, we're running a little bit of a research workshop series over at the side. We've got our main booth, but over at the side, we're doing some of that. We're also trying to be more actively engaged with ITSMF as well as BCS and other institutions to try to reach more and more practitioners in the service management community.
Okay, well thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Very helpful. I hope we get that message out that you're listening and you're looking for input, feedback.
Absolutely. I would say stay tuned to the Axelos website. You can reach me on Twitter as well, or contact me through ITSMF. I'd be glad to be in touch with anyone.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.